Alright, hello everybody and welcome to yet another live coding session. After a long time of no live coding, I'm a little bit back. Hopefully I will make this more regularly, but we'll see. So for today's session I wanted to implement a small feature into Uno platform which is handling clipboard methods on TextBox and password box, because I noticed that TextBox has these three nice methods: cut selection to clipboard, copy selection to clipboard, paste from clipboard, and also password box has a similar thing, although not all of them. It has probably just one of them, I think, paste from Clipboard, yes. So the goal of this is to implement this feature and to add it to Uno platform, because we already have Clipboard support everywhere. So it should be quite simple to add the support for these methods using the existing Clipboard API that we have already. So that's kind of the goal. So let me get started. I actually already prepared a branch for this here, so I will be working with this Uno free clone of Uno platform. I have multiple clones because I'm usually working on multiple features at the same time. So we'll have to switch to that. Here we go. So I have this Uno free clone. Well, actually, let's first start with some test UWP application, because that's gonna be the easiest way to actually see how the thing works on Windows, and then we can implement it everywhere. So I will create just a blank Windows application and we'll get started with that. All right. I'll just bump it to the latest, even though it's probably not really that important. So last week on Monday we had a huge release, or actually Tuesday it was, Tuesday. So Uno Platform 4.5 with many new features. So if you have tried it already, please post some feedback in the chat. We had added a lot of new things, including Uno Islands, which is kind of the thing I'm most excited for, because it's the ability to modernize your existing WPF applications with Uno Platform as the surface for the modern XAML content. So you can have old school WPF application and embed it in that application. You can have Uno Platform with modern WinUI, XAML, and with all the new controls that come with WinUI. So it's kind of a fun thing, and shows the nice interoperability between existing APIs and Uno Platform. So you can embed Uno into existing apps as well. So let's see, I will just close this overview and let's create a very simple test application. And we will then use this sample to actually create a test sample in Uno sample application, which we use for development. So I will, let's do a stack panel here with some padding, 12, and let's do a text box, which will be the main text box we will test on. So input box, let's call it input box, and now let's think about how we're gonna call these methods. So the paste from Clipboard should be fine, because we can just click a button and paste from Clipboard. So Clipboard, this one will be quite easy. The other ones might be a little bit more tricky, because those methods like copy selection and let's see, text box, here we go, text box, the copy selection to Clipboard and cut selection to Clipboard are working with a selection that's currently selected in the text box. So you kind of have to have something selected already. And the way to do it, I would say we could do is to create a delay kind of thing. So maybe when you click on the button, it will give you some time to actually select something, and then it will display the results. So I will say, I will create a text block, which will be called result text block. And this one will be displaying what we copied from the input text box. Let's add some spacing so it's nicer. And so it's gonna be copy selection from Clipboard. cut selection from clipboard. From TextBox, right? So like this, and so that should be kind of all the UI that we need. It's not gonna be much. And on the code side, let's implement those 3 event handlers. I'm guessing that, well, actually it could work. So let's try, go to definition. It's gonna generate for us the event handler, and now we'll do input box paste from clipboard, and that will paste the content that's currently in the clipboard into that input box. So let's make it expression method, or actually, if we're gonna be fancy, we can do private void paste from clipboard, and actually do xbind to this. So this will be input box paste from clipboard, and then the other ones. So this and this. So now let's configure some delay. So it's gonna be const and delay. Let's see. For starters, let's do 3000 milliseconds. If it's not enough, then we will bump it more. Copy selection to clipboard. We'll do async and do await task delay. And then after we delay, we will call the input box copy selection to clipboard, and then we will have to display it somehow. So we will have to create some additional method for that. So let's see, this the same thing as here, just cut. And how do we actually see what's been copied into the clipboard? Clipboard in UWP has a content changed method, which we can use, but also we can actually make it even more simple. We can just directly after this, we can do clipboard get content, get the content. Yeah, actually, let's do it as a separate method. So private task get clipboard or task display clipboard content. I will do like clipboard get content. Text async. So we'll get the text from the clipboard, and then we will output that text into that display text result text block like this. That should be enough. And now we await it. Display clipboard content and display clipboard content here. Let's make it nicer. Call it async. So it's creates async, and then we should be basically done. So like this should be enough to have something working. And now we have to connect it, of course, here from the UI. So cut selection to clipboard, xbind copy selection to clipboard, and finally xbind paste from clipboard. Done and done. So maybe one more thing let's do one more thing, and that's to display not only the clipboard text, but also the clipboard contents, but also the current time. So you let's do now and then the text. So we know that something has changed from the last time. And that's it. All right, let's see what. Oh, hello. Hello. Hello, Viet. Let's see what happens. Right, so we have a text box, and let's make something fun. Hello world. Copy it to clipboard and then paste from clipboard. So you can see it has pasted and it displays the contents now. So now when we do copy selection from text box, nothing happened. Oh, here we go. That was a weird delay. Why there was, oh, right. I added the delay. That's annoying. All right, so let's do cut selection from text box. I have to actually select it afterwards, but yeah, it seems that the selection stays active even though the text box is no longer focused. I'm not sure if that behavior is also in Uno platform or not, so we will have to see if it works, or we'll have to just do like this, then select something, wait for it to display, or like this, select and display the results. Maybe it's gonna be this way, but we'll see. So okay, so this pretty simple sample is working in UWP, so let's recreate it inside of the samples application that we use for Uno development. Oh, so what I'm doing is I'm implementing the text box copy selection to clipboard, cut selection to clipboard, and paste from clipboard methods. So all of these three, I want to make sure that they are implemented in Uno platform, ideally on all the targets. So we'll see how that goes. So let's see, Uno 3. So on Uno 3, I will just switch to UWP as a target. All right. And open the Windows only solution filter. So this way I will be targeting only UWP. So all the unnecessary projects for Windows will be unloaded, which will aid the Visual Studio performance significantly. Why is there is a Christmas song? Let's switch to something else. It's not yet Christmas, right? Huh. All right. So now let's create some sample for this. So in the Windows XAML controls, sample section, I will find text box and create a sample. And now there is a very curious and annoying new bug in Visual Studio. And let's see if it happens in this case as well. So I will, clipboard methods will be called the sample, and when it creates, the annoying thing is that in many cases recently, in last 3 or 5 versions of Visual Studio, when you add some file into the shared project from when targeting UWP, it does not update the shared project's project items. So you can see so far there is no change in the project items. So even though the file is showing up in Visual Studio, or it's gonna show up when it stops loading, it's not gonna be actually included in the compilation, which is very annoying. And the only way to avoid it is to either add the file under a different target, not UWP, or edit manually, which is also kind of unfortunate. So I have posted this as a feedback on Visual Studio, but so far they didn't get to it. Oh, I just posted this recently, so it's kind of new. But it is annoying, and sometimes it's kind of weird because you see that file in there, but it does not actually get compiled, and you just don't understand why. And that's the reason. So I will just copy this page, this name, paste it, and also the same thing for this section. And once I do this, we should be in a much better place. So I will save it. And even though Visual Studio didn't reload, it actually now should compile properly. So hopefully it's gonna work. And now let's copy the contents from our test application. Yeah, that's right. This feature could be nice to have in NuGet Explorer. Yeah, actually, when you mention it, it's something that should be part of the NuGet Explorer application. So maybe we can add it later. So let's go. Here I will copy this whole thing and paste it here. Oh, like this. And just rename the page name. Why is it main page? That's weird. Right, it's from the other applications, right? Yes, that makes sense. All right, and I copied it twice, of course. Now it's better. And here we go. The content itself. Right, that should be fine. And now just add the sample attribute here. Clean up a little bit. Use file scope namespaces because it's nicer. Clean up unnecessary usings and sample attribute. And this should go into the text box category. So text box. And the name of the sample, oh, it can be TextBox Clipboard methods, is fine. All right, so we should be ready to go. I will just compile this. We'll see if it still works the same way, even in the samples app. Oh, in the meantime, I have some PRs to finish up. So I have cloned this calendar store PR from Piotr Karotsky, who implemented it a long time ago, but we didn't get to merge it yet. And there are some things that you have to adjust it and a little bit improved. So I will be trying to help him finish it up because his PC is not really set up for testing Uno, because it needs a lot of performance to actually load all the solutions and stuff. So he actually wanted some help with this. So I will be adjusting that PR. It should be just small changes, but I will. My main goal is to improve the sample so that it actually shows the feature live, which was something which wasn't there before. We'll just open it on the side, targeting Android. All right, and now let's open it here. Now to make things less confusing, I will just set the solution color here to something like green, so I don't mistake the two windows of Visual Studio. This is a kind of nice feature. I got this from the extension called, how is it called? Title Customize. Yeah, Customize Visual Studio window title. And it allows you to actually show more information with the window title of Visual Studio. You can configure it in here. customize Visual Studio window title. What I use is git branch name and the parent folder name, which helps me to get this nice visualization that I'm on this specific branch, on this specific clone of Uno platform, and that's quite helpful. Now, when you're juggling multiple different solutions, you want to avoid the situation where you accidentally start editing a different instance of Visual Studio, and then you realize that it's actually a different fork, a different clone of the Git repository. Right. Oh, that's nice. So I want to actually build this because I edited the sample on Windows to actually show calendar events, which is the point of this PR to enable the API called Appointment Manager, which gives you access to a list of your appointments from the calendar, and then you can display them or do something with them. So that's the main point of the PR, and it just is a sample to show actually the list of appointments so you can see if it actually queries correctly. So we'll see if it works. All right, in the meantime, we got this UWP application, sample application running, and I will go to TextBox section, TextBox Clipboard methods, and we got the content here. So I will try something like hello world again, copy it to Clipboard. Now paste from Clipboard, we get hello world. Now cut selection, so I'll select this, and we got LOW, and I will copy selection from TextBox. We'll see what happens. The flip view data template works now. Yeah, that's good. But the fact that it doesn't work on WinUI is quite weird. So maybe something worth reporting to Microsoft's repository for WinUI, because, well, it should work. Right. It's kind of weird. So maybe if you have a simple reproduction of that problem, you can post it to WinUI repository, and then they might look into it and find a solution for you. Okay, so now the clipboard methods sample is working in Uno samples application. So now finally let's switch to some other target and try to implement the support for it. So I will start with something simple to debug, and that's Skia. And maybe, oh, right, I switched the target here, which I didn't want to do. So you can see that mistaking two different repositories is quite easy. So this is not the one I wanted to edit. I want to be on Uno free and source. Here we go. So we want to switch to .NET Standard to target Skia. And on Skia, it should be quite easy to debug this. And I will actually use probably the WPF target, if that's implemented, to make it even easier to see how it's working. I'll see you yet. Bye bye. All right. So the solution is loading. And now let's see how to implement this method. So first off, let's see Clipboard and how it's implemented on WPF. Clipboard, extensions. Yeah, so we have a Clipboard Clipboard implemented on WPF. So we should be fine testing it there. So I will select it as a target. It's the fastest to build, so it's the ideal target to test on first. And I will select Clipboard class itself. Or actually, let me go back to this. I will first rebuild because we have some annoying errors here, and that's because we haven't built the solution yet. So I will do it in the background, and in the meantime I will find the TextBox class under generated folder, and there we should have our desired methods. Okay, in the meantime let's switch to Android, where we have loaded the appointments branch. So I will switch there via phone link. Right. Let me switch. So there's phone link, Surface Duo. So I will maybe switch it to both screens so it's more visible. I will scroll to application model appointment store, and by clicking on this button I just got my my events from calendar. So it seems that it's working correctly. I see there all day, false, durations are correct, and the start times are correct. And the nice thing is that it should give the whole list for I think maximum of 20 events. So that's nice. It seems that this part of the API is working, so we will just do some small cleanup and it should be ready to go. Good. So on a calendar store, appointment manager, and Android. So we're now using file scope namespaces where possible, so let's switch it to that. I will add some comments to document the methods, and just switch this to be here. So public methods go first, and then the private methods. This one shouldn't be public, definitely. It should be private. And let's see. There is unnecessary namespace here, so I will, instead of that, use using for that purpose, using Windows extensions. So now we should have much nicer API here. And we'll continue with this later. I think I just wanted to get it started, but just continue when the other app is building. So this one succeeded building, which is cool, although it still shows some odd errors. So maybe what we can do is close the solution and reopen it, just to avoid having these annoying errors. I will delete WS folder. Sometimes it helps. Come on, let's open the Skia only solution filter. And while it's loading, I will go and get the documentation for this class. UWP. Oh, I was there actually. So, appointment manager provides API to interact with appointment store. Boom. So now, show time frame async. Okay, seems that this method is not actually used in the sample yet, so we will have to add it as well so that it's just properly shown in the sample application. Right, this is a long description. Even though the documentation is not really that necessary, because most of the time you're developing Kuno applications when targeting UWP, so you get the documentation from Windows. It's still nice to have it because it makes things easier when you're not targeting Windows or when you're on Visual Studio Code, where you can only target Skia or WebAssembly or the other targets, not including Windows, and also when you're on a Mac. So, okay, so this is just returning complete synchronously. So I'll just do this, and for request store, we'll do this, and the options parameter is this. And returns, yeah, appointment store. All right, so this is quite simple. And now let's save it and let's switch back to our Skia implementation of the TextBox Clipboard method. So let's see if our restart of Visual Studio has helped in any way. I hope it did, and it so far does not show any errors, which is promising. So let's do paste, current document, paste from, oh, there it was. So paste from clipboard method is here, copy selection and cut selection. I will just mark all of them as implemented everywhere and just move the implementation into the actual TextBox file. All right, this is the one that we need, and I'll just put it somewhere next to selection, select all, maybe somewhere here. That makes most sense because the methods are related to selection somehow, so it makes sense to for them to be next to these. So let's do like this. Now for the magic trick, how do we copy those things? How do we work with those clipboard methods here? I actually don't remember too well how the clipboard methods, like copying to clipboard and pasting from clipboard. Well, pasting from clipboard we have already done for the sample page, but copying to clipboard will be interesting. And now we just froze Visual Studio, which is nice. Let's wait for it to load. In the meantime, let's switch to here. Yeah, this is also nice. Oh, okay. Visual Studio is lazy recently. Well, let's ignore this pop-up and continue with some refactoring here. So I will do using Android provider to get rid of the text there. So now let's use isNull. This is unnecessary. Calendar builder is null. So this shouldn't happen. So it adds time to that builder and then calls this content URIs on the builder to show the time. Okay, but it's I probably don't understand properly the API. So the time to show is the time beginning of time what should the appointments provider display, and the time spent that hints how long the time frame show. So it should be duration, how long it should display, and the time to show should be the time on which the application opens. But I see that the duration is not really used in any way in this implementation. So it seems that Android does not support that option. So I will have to somehow note that here. So I will do remarks. The duration parameter is ignored as not supported on Android. Makes sense. So this is okay, and this then starts the activity via the application context. Right. Let's save it. So for this method we should be done, and in the meantime let's see if this instance of Visual Studio has gotten more friendly, so it's no longer stuck. We can continue here. So for the paste from clipboard, that should be quite easy. So let's start with that. So we'll use the Clipboard API. Yeah, sometimes it's actually faster to add the namespace yourselves instead of wait for Visual Studio to load the suggestions, which is kind of sad when you think about it. So Clipboard is under using Windows application model. Data transfer, I think that's the right namespace. So let's see. Yes, that's right. So we'll get content. Content. And from content we get the text async. And the problem here a little bit is that the Clipboard implementation is asynchronous, so it's getting the text asynchronously. So pasting from Clipboard might actually, the actual pasting from Clipboard might actually happen a little bit delayed as compared to what we might expect. So Well, I should see if it shouldn't be a big problem. It's just something that's worth noting to people when they are using the API, and I will definitely note it in the documentation for the feature. So the thing that we do now is just set the text property to text content, and that should be all we need. So it's simply just this. And what I actually don't know is whether on Windows, when you do this, it replaces the contents completely, or it just replaces the collection. Oh, okay, so it appends, and when you select something, it replaces. All right, that's gonna be a bit more interesting. So if there is a selection, it will replace the selection. And if there is no selection, it will just append to the place where the cursor was last. So I guess that we'll have to use selection start to see where the selection currently is, and then append or prepend or whatever. So if I go here and paste from clipboard, it will, yeah, it's prepending on that location. So I will say input start position. Now we will get the current text from the text box, and then we should do something like insert or current text insert. So input start position, and text content. This should insert the clipboard text at the given position. But one thing that we need to make sure is that the selection start is greater than 0, because if it's not greater or equal to 0, because if it's actually less than 0, that means there's no selection, and we will just append to that text. So text content like this, and then we set the new text like this. All right, so that should be the paste from clipboard method. Now for the copy selection. So we in this case we will have to take the substring from the text that's selected and copy that to clipboard. So there's actually already selected text. Oh, right, I forgot. So where there is something selected, it replaces that content, right? So we'll have to make sure that this is also covered. So, and selection length. Okay, so that was a suggestion by Copilot, and it's quite sensible actually. So if there is a selection and it's the length of that selection is not 0, so it's actually something selected, we remove it and then we insert on that new location something else. So we'll remove and immediately insert selection start. All right, so yeah, okay, let's do it like this. So first, if there is something selected, we remove it, and then we replace it by our clipboard content here. So let's rename it clipboard text. All right. Now Visual is just making fun of me, because this is not a hard rename operation. It's just renaming one variable which is used in this simple scope. So what is it doing? What is it doing? Oh, come on. All right, so if I can cancel it, it will do nothing. So clipboard text, let me do it manually then. Okay, there's no missing usings. So we have a string. So now it removes the text that's selected, and then if the selection start is bigger than 0, it will insert on that location. If it's not, it will append, which makes sense, and then replaces with the newly updated text. So now let's copy to copy selection to clipboard. So if selection length is greater than 0, when something is actually selected, we will take the selected text and put it into clipboard. So clipboard, set content, and we will have to create a data package. So data package equals new data package. Data package set text, and we'll set the text, and then we set the data package as the content of the clipboard. So this will copy to clipboard, and that should be actually it. We don't have to do anything else with this. And then for cutting the selection from clipboard, it's actually the same thing as copy selection to clipboard. So we can call that method from here. Come on, selection. Come on, why is it not suggesting anything? That's so annoying. And we now have to also remove the selection from the text afterwards. So text remove selection start so this should be it. So we remove why is it using select? So I see it, so there's will some mix up here. Visual Studio is completely unable to give me any suggestions here, which is very sad. I'll just selection start, selection length, selection length. So we use these variables in case something changes in the meantime. So selection start, selection length, selection start, and like this. This is fine. Selection length and selection start, selection length. So I think that pretty much covers everything. So now let's see if it actually works under WPF. The way how Visual Studio misbehaves currently is kind of weird. I'm not sure if it's caused by some of the extensions that I have installed or something else entirely. But doesn't really matter. In the meantime, let's look at the Android implementation of Appointment Manager. So for this part, just remove these unnecessary comments. So only all calendars read-only is implemented. So let's go here. Let's comment this here. Add some summary comment. Appointment store access type. specifies the level of access granted. Now let's document all of those values. Read write. And finally so only the read-only access is implemented. So we will mark these other ones as not implemented. And you can see that the code completion and suggestions on Android seem to work much better than in Skia. So it must be something wrong with Skia itself. That's so weird. Yeah, I just forgot to rename this. It's weird. Okay, so this is marked as not implemented. And let's do this. So this is unnecessary info. And let's see, the Android manifest permission read calendar. We check for that permission if it's declared. It's not declared in manifest, so we make sure that the developer has declared the permission. And if it's declared, we check for that permission and ask the user to provide it for us. So in case the user does not give us permission, we just return null, and we don't care about it anymore. So like this, just to simplify that if condition. All right, just clean up this. And that should be it. I think that covers all the necessary changes in this. Oh, this should be end, right? So if this is true, yeah, it has to both have to be true for it to return null. If this is false, or okay, I'm confused here. So check permission returns true if the permission is granted. So let's just do it simply like this. Permission granted. Like this. So permission, if it's not granted and we do not get the permission, then we return null, and otherwise we return the appointment store itself, which we can do like this, because the return type of the method is already known, so it's just nicer this way. Okay, so that's appointment manager, and there are some other APIs that are already there. We'll just do some small cleanup of this. All right, so this is appointment properties. Okay. Oh, let's continue with this afterwards. Let's now check the clipboard implementation if it works. So TextBox clipboard methods. So let's first do the paste from clipboard. So I will select this, copy into clipboard and do paste from clipboard. And it does nothing, which is sad. Okay, let's try again. It does not do anything. Huh. Okay, so it's pasting nothing. It's replacing by empty text. Huh. So it seems like there's nothing. Let's see clipboard, Windows, the application model, data transfer manager. No, we have Oh, right. Clipboard. Where is the clipboard test? It should be somewhere. Clipboard tests, yes. So copy to clipboard. That's fine. Paste from clipboard. Oh, this works. So there's something astray. Yeah, this works. So there must be something wrong with the implementation that I have there. All right. We can do that. Copy to clipboard, paste from flash, clear. Oh, nice. We broke this implementation. Yeah, because there's no text, so it's actually a proper error message in this case. But the weird thing is that it didn't work, so we will have to check which part of this does not operate correctly. Right, so let's go back to our sample for TextBox Clipboard. Here we go. Huh. So I will copy hello world something to the clipboard, put a breakpoint here, and let's see what happens. So we get the text here correctly. The selection start is 0, selection length is 0. So we should have no change in the text. And now if selection start is greater or equal to 0, we should get inserted. Oh, what? Oh, right, yeah. That's of course quite clear what's wrong here. I have to do it like this because insert is not changing that string, but it's actually creating a copy of the string and returning it. So this didn't make sense. This is now gonna work. Let's see if I can do hot reload. Maybe it will work. Oh, actually it didn't. It seems like something froze. So you can see that Visual Studio has issues. Clear issues. Now, let's restart it. And let's jump back to the calendar store. Alright, so we use different convention for Android. Right. Okay, so this is converting UW column names to Android column names. I actually started with this one. Fetch properties. So this is the class that's used to actually fetch the appointment properties and appointments overall. So I'll start with that. Because that goes as the input for that appointment manager methods, for appointment store method. So I'll add comments here. Oh, right, here we go. SKI is starting up. So the summary comment here. Constructor, and we don't have to set the defaults in the constructor. We can do it directly on the properties, so I will do it like that. Here, false. Oh, you don't have to initialize to false because that's the default anyway, and the list should be a new list, so like this will be nicer. And now the properties. Calendar IDs we can ignore because that's not implemented. Fetch properties. Get the lists of property names. Oh, right, you have to do it like this. Rank. That makes sense. Alright. Include hidden. Are you complaining? It's just not updated yet. Finally, max count. Right. That's it. So this method is cleaned up and documented. Should be okay. Just one thing. That's read only. That's fine. All right. Seems good to me. Now appointment participant. Simple one. So address. That's a long comment. But this has to be public. Oh, right, it's an interface, it's fine. Okay, this is my name. Okay, I'll be going right back to Skia after this. Just wanted to get this one finished. So appointment participant, find appointments options are done. Okay, now let's switch to TextBox again. And let's try if now the changes worked. So TextBox Clipboard methods. I'll copy this to Clipboard and then click paste from Clipboard. That's fine. Now I put it here. Okay. And now I put this here. That worked, kinda. Yeah, it worked actually. So if I copy just hello and select this, it replaces the correct part of the text. So yeah, it seems fine. So now let's do copy selection to clipboard. So hello Uno platform, and I will be copying Uno platform. So copy selection from text box. Hello. Huh. All right. It's copied completely the other thing. Oh, actually, that's fine because I have. No. All right. Copy selection from text box. Uno platform. So I select this. Copy selection from text box. Huh. Stayed the same. Okay, so if I do now this and then select something. Okay, this works. So as I said, the handling of clipboard or of selection in Uno is not the same as in UWP. So when we have to do the selection after clicking that. Or actually, no, that's weird. Now I selected something. And it worked. Okay, so select this. Lo Uno pla. That's not what I selected. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So hello Uno pla. So it's kind of behind by one instance. Huh, that's odd. But it can be actually the actually because the clipboard, as I mentioned, is asynchronous. So maybe that is the actual problem here. WPF, yeah, exactly. So the clipboard content is set asynchronously. Like this. But the question is that even needed? Why is it set asynchronously? To me it seems unnecessary, which might be something to improve. Because clipboard should not require UI thread. So maybe it could be actually possible to do async and just call the set content async method. And there is nothing async about this. Oh, there is just this asynchronous thing, yeah. Alright, so it is async. But I don't see a reason why it should have to run on require running on a UI thread. So maybe it's not needed. In any case, we can then adjust the sample a little bit to just handle the synchronicity correctly. So I will go to TextBox Clipboard methods, and I will just do some delay here. So await task delay 100, just to make sure that the asynchronous call is processed between when we query the clipboard and when we store the content to the clipboard. Or maybe I can store it here actually. So like this. This should be quite enough. Okay, let's go back to this. In the meantime, so appointment properties. Appoint properties. So these properties identify various properties of an appointment. Let's do it like just to simplify things a little bit. We'll create a method that will format the property. String get appointment property, color member name, because the names of the properties are the same as the actual strings inside of the property value. So I will go like this and just return it like this. Appointment property name. I'm not sure if this is gonna be the same for all the properties, but quite likely it could be. So we can just check and adjust those which are not the same. Right, it has to be static. And now we can replace all these. Like this, and there's a lot of others. Maybe let's add those which are returned by UWP, just so that the default properties value is correct. I'm not sure why this is moved here, because other platforms don't implement anything of this at all, so I guess it does not have to be in a separate file. And these are actually implemented because they return the correct value that's in Windows. So there is nothing not implemented about them. So we can keep it like this. Right. Apartment properties. Alright, the build has finished on the Skia text box, so let's go to TextBox Clipboard. Let's try again. So hello world. I will select this, copy selection from TextBox. Okay, that seems good. Now I will cut selection from TextBox. Go. Okay, that seems fine. Hello. Cut selection. Seems good. Copy selection from TextBox. And E. Well, it's fine. I think that's fine. That seems to be working. And actually it seems to be working even if I don't have the text box focused, which is what I was afraid of, that it didn't work, and it does work, so why not? Alright, I think we're done here. So that's for Skia, and let's close Skia and test on other target. For example, the most fun one, which is WebAssembly. This is kind of repetitive. we point in remarks that the list of properties is different from WinUI UWP, as it contains only those which are actually supported. So that makes it simpler. And now, let's see, WebAssembly is loaded, so I will just start the samples app and let it build, which might take a while. Okay, so we have this. Now appointments organizer. So appointment organizer implements the appointment participant. So and now makes sense because I saw this not displaying anything in the sample page, but that's because I'm displaying the class itself, not the properties underneath. So organizer should be organizer dot display name, and that might be more useful. So display name and address. Let's see, let's find the appointment organizer. URP. Oh, no. Oh, we need that type directly. Represents the organizer. Constructor initializes the new class. And again, we don't need this. We can do it directly on the properties. Okay. Oh, okay, that's the same command that we had in the interface, so I will copy it here. And the defaults, we're done. So now finally for the appointment, which is the class that contains the actual information about the appointment being created. So I will comment this like this, open appointment here in the docs, and let's see. Presents appointment in the calendar. Right. The constructor initializes new instance, of course. And the only thing that we need to know is that these can be moved again here. So yeah, details, subject, start time, all day, calendar ID, local ID, and organizer is default to null. Right. What is it? This is weird. We'll see what happens. What does it mean? But we can remove this now. Clean up. Add some spaces just to make it a bit nicer, more readable. And finally, we can. Oh, here we go. The WebAssembly application has started already. So I will test the clipboard there. So first off, let's see if clipboard Clipboard methods. Why is it not searching for our sample here? Okay, text box. Clipboard methods. The search is kind of funky. Let's see. I will select to the platform, copy from clipboard, allow access, and now it's pasting. So I will put here. I will replace this. All seems to be working correctly. So now let's do the selection copying. So I will select this. Nope. And cut selection. Form. Oh, okay. That seems to be working again. So nice. Yeah, nice. Right. That's completely fine. So that's another platform tested. And now let's do one more, which would be Android. But I guess it should be working because the clipboard is already working properly, so it should be working everywhere without any changes needed. Right, on Android. We'll see it on the Surface Duo at least. Okay, so let's go back to appointments for now before it loads. So I will add the comments. Oh, okay. So, what's the second one? Calendar ID. Details. Good. Details now. Details kind is something that I wanted to check. What does it actually mean? Plain text or HTML? Not sure if we can discover which of those two it is. Duration. We definitely have that. Okay, let's see if it's loaded already, so we can start building. Android is quite slow to build, so I will just have it built on the background while we're working on the calendar store. Let's see, location. Oh. I'm guessing that more of these properties could be implemented, but it's just this first version that supports a part of it, not everything. So we can later improve it by adding more as needed. not sure if this is relevant. Let's remove this remark, because I guess we will not be crashing in that case. Start time, that's definitely needed. Subject, we have that as well. Subject here. And final local ID, I forgot that one. So somewhere here. Okay, and this must be right here. All right, so we're done here with commenting this appointment class, and that means that we can now hopefully jump into appointment store, which is the last unrefactored class of this. And we will start by documenting the class itself. Represents store. Oh, okay. It contains appointments. Oh, actually, I just remembered that I wanted to check if the previous PR that I was editing is now merged or it's still pending. It doesn't seem that it's merged based on the number of PRs. Let's see. So, phone call history is still failing, and the reason why it's failing is that there is some unrelated build error that keeps failing all the time. I'm not sure why. Just don't understand why. I'll just run it and wait if it helps, or... So far it didn't merge after several tries, but the error that is showing is completely unrelated. So I'm not sure why it should be failing this way. This one, all the time, this error. These are all UI tests which are unrelated to changes in the PR, which are specifically non-UI. So I'm not sure why it's failing now suddenly. But it seems like it's not the only PR that's failing like this. Oh, this one is failing on WebAssembly tests, but I saw that this one, I think, was also Android. Yeah, runtime tests on Android. This one. Android UI tests group 2. I'm failing on group 1, which is different one. Well, we'll see if it merges or not. But for now, let's continue on the calendar store. So what I don't like here is that we're using these magic constants. So I will do appointment properties all day instead to actually use those values that we want. Location. It's just avoiding magic constants. All right, but we cannot use those because they are not constants. That's unfortunate. Let's think how we can improve this. Maybe what we can do is this So we can do get Android event column for appointment property, string appointment property, and it will be a switch. It will be actually a expression method, which will do appointment property switch, and then all the various values. So appointment properties all day, and it will return this thing. And maybe we can just simplify this. By using Android event columns instead. So as a default, we'll return null for unsupported properties. And this will be nullable. And constant value is expected. So I cannot use this either. Why? Alright, it has to be a constant value because it's evaluating the expression there. So I didn't help myself at all. So let's do one more adjustment here. Private dictionary, string, appointment property map. This will be a dictionary string, and it will contain the mapping. So this way we should be fine now. So like this. So location, event location, start time. So start time and duration are different somehow. We'll see. It seems like they should be there, but we'll see. Maybe there is something I'm missing. Organizer. Description. Reminder. Reminder has alarm. Reminder. So this is a mapping of UWP or WinUI appointment properties to Android appointment properties. So we can remove those which we have covered. Title, organizer, description, alarm. And the duration and start time are weird, and we'll see what to do about those. So for each column, we will use by default the appointment. If appointment property contains try get value column, we will add it to Android columns. Add, yeah, it's gonna be out Android column. So if we can do it, we will use this. But if we cannot, we will check if it's one of those weird ones. So if column equals, we will set start time request true. Else if column equals appointment properties duration, and duration requested is true. All right, and switch we remove now. Okay, that should be enough. Now what else? Yeah, duration requested false as well, just to default it. So we have handled the mapping of properties. And now this is okay. It's just we're just sort of trying to catch up with the changes, but it cannot somehow. Right, this is long code. Inaccessible due to protection level. So this must be public. These two must be public. Okay. So we'll have to break this method down to some simpler form because it's very long and hard to read. So first off, this is a private method. That's something that we created, but doesn't make sense. So this private method, I will move it down. Okay, so this should be a static thing because it will be used across multiple appointment stores. This is a constant. This is an actual property. This actual properties. This should be actually read only, and read only dictionary. That's fine. Just to make sure it's read only. And now this is the public method that gets the appointments. That's fine. And now this is the static private implementation of it. There's a lot of code there. The one thing I'm interested in is the start time requested, because that seemed kind of odd. Oh, right. String. And I'm not sure if if dictionary implements I read only. Yes, it implements I read only, so that should be okay. Okay. Just this is necessary. Yeah, this is Android event columns. There's some querying code specific to Android, so you can probably ignore that. Android event columns. All right. Start time requested. Huh. Okay, so this is reading all the specific properties one by one. Not sure why This had to be done like this. Column start time. Oh, right. So an end time. That's the weirdness about these. Okay. Alright, this is gonna be a little bit harder to refactor, I can see. But we can just test if our changes didn't break anything. But let's do it later, because now we are going back to the text box testing, and now we'll test it on Android. So I will go here to TextBox Clipboard methods, and I will say hello. Copy it, now delete it. Now I'll paste from clipboard. I paste this, seems to be working. Now I do some selection also. How can I select here? So I cannot select sub-selection for some reason. That's weird. Well, anyways, I will select the whole thing. So I can select the whole thing. I can cut selection from text box. Seems to be fine. Paste from clipboard. Paste from clipboard. The odd thing is I cannot select just a part of the text. Not sure why that's the case, but it seems to be. It seems to select just the whole thing at once. I'm not sure why. But that would be a problem of the text box itself, not a problem of the text box clipboard methods. So those seem to be working correctly. Oh, actually, I can do the selection with mouse here. So copy selection to clipboard. So this works, and now cut selection from text box. Yeah, this works as well. Okay, I guess this is fine. This seems that the Android version is working as well. So I guess that means that this feature can be considered implemented. I will just do one more thing, and that's adding some documentation for the newly added methods, because that makes sense. To make things clear and self-explanatory. So paste from clipboard. Well, that's not the right one. We need this one from TextBox. Copies content from Windows Clipboard. It's not Windows only. Oh! Seems like didn't copy correctly. Try again. And from the OS clipboard, because it's not Windows only anymore. Copy selection to clipboard. So again, to the OS clipboard. And finally, cut selection to clipboard. So here we go. OS Clipboard. So that's it. I think that's all we needed. So I guess what we can do is, oh, actually one more thing. As I said, password box has also this paste from clipboard method. So I will mark it as implemented as well. Paste from clipboard. And because in Uno platform the password box it derives from TextBox, it basically just needs to call the base method. So there's nothing too complicated there. So I will just do due diligence here, and I'll just put it here. Oh, not here. Oh, actually, yeah, makes sense. So here I will just be calling base paste from clipboard, and I will name it, add a new modifier so that it overwrites that base method. So that's good. Let's see if from clipboard, if it says some additional, yeah, nothing different. Copies content from the OS clipboard into the text control, and nothing else needed. Okay, so that's all done and ready. The question is, I just realized that there might be a small catch for password box. So as this documentation, I'm not sure if it's gonna replace the text or just behave the same as in case of TextBox. So I will just edit our sample here. Add a password box and try what it does with the password box if there is already some content. Because if my suspicions are correct, it might actually not care about the selection at all and always replace the whole thing, which would make sense because it's a password box and that just behaves a little bit differently. So if I paste from, okay, no, so it's appending, so it's doing the same thing as, yeah, that seems fine. Okay, so it behaves the same as TextBox. Then that's actually better for us because we don't have to change any behavior specifically for the password box. Okay, so that's it for the feature. And now we need to also make sure that we push the branch. So I will do it as separate commits. So first one will be test TextBox Clipboard methods sample. So that will be the first one. And the second one will be the implementation itself. So feed support for TextBox Clipboard methods. Push and push. And did I push it to origin? Origin, yeah. Okay, so now it should be here. So there should be a new pull request option. And I will create an issue for it so we're neatly organized. So enhancement request, support for TextBox and password box. Clipboard methods. Support for Clipboard-related assign myself, input, boom. So we have now a issue we can assign the PR to. So let's create the pull request, mark it as closing this one, clipboard methods for text box and password box. All right. So this is a feature not supported. And what we did is create a sample page, no breaking changes associated with issue, and this is fine. Oh, delete more than I wanted. And create a pull request, assign myself, boom, and we should be done. All right, the PR is up, and it should be quite simple to review. It's just a few files and just a few actual lines of code here, so nothing too major. So hopefully this is gonna be merged pretty soon. All right, so that's from the main point of the live coding today. For the calendar store, I will be continuing the refactoring here, but as I can see, this is gonna be a little bit harder to actually fix up or refactor, just to make it cleaner for later implementations. What I need to do here, what I actually did accidentally remove this namespace declaration by doing find a new place. So this is now better. So most of this is probably required Android querying and reading code, but I just want to make sure that it's more readable. So I will break down this method into multiple smaller methods, and this way it will be easier to later update or change. But the good thing is that it works, so this can be later used and also merged into master. All right, so that's it from today's small live coding session. I hope that I will be doing this more regularly, but one never knows what happens. So hopefully we'll see each other soon. And in the meantime, take care and see you next time. Bye bye.